Hello. Uh, this is the third of Shiori's little brief excursion to the land of the Kuchigami, the animal people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the people that by no means are connected to summoners whatsoever at all. Um,
Nope,
that
not
is
at
a
all. That'd
complete
be
and total
crazy.
secret. That's a complete and total secret that nobody knows. Anyway, um,
Not a single one.
that being said, do you remember what you did last time, Shiori?
Um, do I? Yeah. So last session, I made it to the island, um, Kuchigama land. Um, I let's see. I met the bear man. I met
Or another bear man?
what?
Another bear man, rather.
Oh, another bear man. Sorry, excuse the fuck out of me. Um, I met Ulachi's sister, right? And
Yep.
and her son, who is a small bunny man.
Little brother. It was actually a little brother. But
Oh,
anyway.
little brother. I'm sorry. I thought it was their. I thought it was their like son, like her nephew, basically Ulachi's nephew, but apparently little brother.
Yeah, little brother.
Still,
I probably wasn't
still,
sure on that.
still adorable, charming bunnyman. Um, and then she met Chin Chin, who is the monkey, and he is very fast. And she was gonna race him, and then somebody forgot, and then blamed it on me.
Oh no, nobody forgot. Well, one person forgot.
He forgot and blamed it on me, and then I went and took a fucking nap because it was late. God damn it. Um, and uh, and then when I woke up, there was a dragon.
A dragon queen, yes,
Heck yeah.
arriving on what I later realized was called a litter, even though that sounds like a cat thing to me. But
Nope, it is
it
a
is
litter.
yeah, uh, a human or
It's se-
a
it's several
human.
kinds of cat things actually.
Yeah, I know, right? Um,
Also puppies.
yes.
Most
It
baby animals in
is.
general.
It is a human or a biologically powered transport, I guess. It's not a horse-drawn carriage. Um,
It's a it's like a chair on a platform, and then people carry it. It's like you've seen it in every like Egyptian or like in 300 or whatever. Like anytime there's like a pharaoh or like a king, and they're being carried. If they're not riding their own damn horse, they're being carried in either a like a little like carriage looking thing with people carrying it, or just on a open platform with a throne on it with people carrying it. Spoiler: the
yes,
people are usually slaves. Um,
usually.
usually. Oops, all
Um,
slaves.
I am aware of this.
Oops.
It's not like I didn't realize that that was a thing that usually slaves did.
Everyone knows.
But yeah. Anyway, um, you are presented with said royal dragon queen person. Um, and
Finally.
uh, we sort of open on the four uh, quite possibly they are bug type folks because most of them have the same sort of glasses that Shiori is used to seeing on um, those with the compound eyes going on.
Okay.
Um, and one of them doesn't, but the other three do. And you also know from talking to and spending time treating the other various bugs, there was a lot of them on the boat, that it's usually those brand of people that are really strong, like a bug.
Okay, I get it. They can lift like
And
several hundred times their body weight.
uh-huh. Um, and that being said, it sort of makes sense that the litter in question would be carried by those. Shiori also knows in her conversation with the Hachike previously that the bug folk, are pretty low on the unfortunate social hierarchy that this culture has. So
The
that's
food
another reason
chain,
why that
as
was.
it were.
Yep.
The social food chain.
And
And possibly the literal food chain, depending on how fun this will get later.
yeah, let's not get into that just yet.
Yeah, okay, that tells me everything I need to know. Goodness.
So they sort of stop upon seeing you and lower the litter to the ground, stepping to the side, basically setting it on the ground, so that the queen can step out from underneath. I'm sort of imagining it kind of like the Paladins from like Steven Universe, how those
Yeah.
yeah, those kind of things.
Oh, so it's sorry, so it's enclosed.
Yes, it is actually.
Okay, cool.
You can see her in there, but she's draped to where you don't have necessarily all of her features.
Oh, I see,
But
like the chiffon curtain thing going on.
yes, precisely.
Cool.
And she sort of parts the curtain, allowing you to see her more fully. And the token's fairly accurate for what I was going for. She essentially looks like a dragonborn. Very much scaled, predominant red in stature, and she just sort of looks down, or not down, since she's actually on the ground now. She looks towards you, pretty much waiting to see what it is that you will do. Jeffrey appears to be giving you the floor before she speaks.
Shiori will kind of stop and I guess I've already watched her approach, so I mean she's already stopped, but when she steps out, Shiori will bow politely. Not like a full kneel or anything, but she will bow respectfully.
Right, closer to a more bow of respect rather than a reverence or something.
Right, like a curtsy rather than a full
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Now, the question at the end of last session, and then as the morning came, you made use of activating your detect thoughts.
Oh hell yeah!
Thing.
Every time I get up, it's first thing she does: detect thoughts, then coffee.
Right. So, you have your detect thoughts thing going. Do you? And at the end of last session, I had you sort of getting the feel of the emotions on the bearers, as it were, those that were carrying the litter.
Right.
And it deemed that they did not feel as though they were oppressed or slaves. By all appearances, they look like they are, but they did not feel that they were. And that sort of earned a groan from you that was from else, but I don't know about that.
What was that?
when I mentioned in the previous session that the most of the bears seemed like they were okay being there rather than feeling oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you focus your detect thoughts thing to see if you get anything off of her?
I'd like to just for a moment.
Okay. So you are focusing it towards her.
Yeah. She'll like focus a little bit, and if she gets anything back, she'll try and like continue to do so. If she hits a wall, she's just gonna back off and like let it go, like area of effect, whatever usual.
Okay. So your intent is to try to get something from her, but you're being cautious.
Yeah, she's gonna like, it's that thing where you walk up to a door and you just like very gently try and turn the handle just to see if it's unlocked, and if there's any kind of resistance, you just kind of walk off like nothing happened.
Right. In that case, Romeo will save with +4.
Okay. An additional 4.
Yeah, on top of what you would normally roll.
21?
Wow, your will is high.
My will is
okay.
Very high. My will is 12. My fort and reflex are 8.
Right. Okay. So you sort of.
So.
Yeah. So you sort of basically you you sort of try to get a feel for the way she's feeling, and you don't necessarily get any direct thoughts, not in the same way that you normally would. Instead, you get a feeling from her of basically curiosity, and just as soon as you get that, you hear inside your head, "I'd be careful if I were you."
She just she kind of jumps slightly and goes sorry, I didn't mean to intrude. I was just
Was it perhaps as a soldier from your lands?
It wasn't a spying thing. I just kind of do it all the. She switches it off like as she's talking. I just kind of do it all the time. I'm not really used to it being quiet in my head like that.
And you must be Shiori, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Lolo told me about you.
Oh, well, I'm glad I left an impression. I hope it wasn't anything bad. I don't think I did anything wrong.
No.
If she is telepathic, she can hear Shiori like overanalyzing everything she did on the way here. Like, oh god, did I fuck something
up? She is based on what you have seen. She does appear to be telepathic in some sense, but okay. She doesn't appear to be like reading your thoughts or anything of that sort. She just happens to be telepathic and wanted to give you at least a bit of a spicier introduction to her by virtue of speaking in your head.
Yeah.
I'm not used to many individuals having such an effect on the mind. Jutsu in general, of many kinds, are not really well known here, and magic, as it were, is shall we say, rarer.
All due respect, I've seen quite a bit of it since I've been here.
You've seen the chakra that floats around here.
Yeah,
The
I know
energy that
a lot of people are using it so naturally, I don't even think they know they're doing it.
you are correct. Most don't. Some that are fairly well trained are aware. Some use it in a much more aggressive manner, perhaps. But for the most part, the general public isn't very aware that it's a thing.
I see. So I'm going to imagine that Lowo does, but Chinchin does not.
Yeah, are you saying that in character?
Yeah, no, she is.
Okay. You are correct, yes. Lowo is a very prominent warrior for us.
Yeah, you don't say.
As such, knows the kind of potential that is possible and the kind of magic and energy that can be used. Shinchin, however, he doesn't really know any of that.
Okay. That's very interesting, actually.
Something tells me, though, based on you having already met Shinchin, tell me, are you capable of moving very fast?
I am, actually. I think Chinchin might be a little faster than me, but I did sort of challenge him to a race anyway.
I thought as much. Shinchin he's a very competitive sort. It makes sense that a race would be something that he would want to do, especially with someone who he's not aware of whatever they may be capable of. He may be a humble merchant, but he does enjoy feeling powerful, shall we say. And that comes from his speed, being as naturally gifted as he is.
Was there... I can't imagine you came all this way just for me.
No. I was going to meet up with Lowo to discuss more of our plans and more of what his mission may actually be rather than what he thought it was. It's unfortunate.
Continue, I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate, but in order to get the resources available to allow that boat to travel across the sea to such a unknown place to us, I had to make it seem as though we were doing something for a more military sort. I may be the queen here, and you may not know our culture. However, you do have the right to know that I'm not the only governing body that needs to be, or that remains in control.
See, that answers the question I was about to ask.
I thought as much. There is a royal council, a system that was set to prevent the nobility that was born into it, such as myself, from becoming a dictator or a tyrant, a checks and balances, if you will. Unfortunately, sometimes the more corrupt is the council rather than the ones that was born here. I have to make sure that they are appeased, or I look like a tyrant in the face of my people.
That makes very little sense to me.
What would you say would make more sense?
Well, I don't see how giving in to corrupt bureaucrats makes you less of a tyrant. It sounds like the tyranny stems from them, and you just feed it. Not to be disrespectful, it sounds like it's an infuriating situation.
It is. When the people around, when we have had many civil wars in our past, when the folks that were lower on the hierarchy, shall we say, were known and were given knowledge of how our rules were made, there were fights. To appease this, we try to keep information on a need-to-know basis. But because of that, when I'm trying to make everyone around free and able to do with what they please, the only thing I can accomplish is allow for a more integrated society. And even some don't necessarily like that. Tradition is something that can't be changed overnight. It's not necessarily...
I agree with that.
It's not necessarily about corruption so much as it is people are so set in their ways, they can become rather stubborn.
I understand.
And a lot of that may be me not explaining it well, less of the terminology there. But
no, you're fine.
Anyway, I'm not a governmental person. I could care less about all that crap. So to try to make a government-based plot issue is tricky for me sometimes.
Yeah, I know how that is.
So it actually seems like she is glad to see you in a weird way. She seems hopeful that you might be able to give some folks the right kick in the teeth to get them to understand more of what's going on. However, your little back and forth with her is temporarily interrupted as Chin Chin actually comes out of his market area, actually from like the back door, or I guess the back, which is more like a hut, sort of like the back. He comes out the back way instead of the front way, and he sees the queen. He sees the queen there, gives her a very like, he doesn't give her reverence like a full bow necessarily, but he does, dip a little bit lower in his bow than you would have necessarily done. It's as if he was just doing his to be more respectful, but also quick. And then he sees you. So about that race.
Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot all about it. I guess just the trip and the I remembered this morning I was coming to see you and I ran into Her Majesty here.
Of course. Well, Majesty, would you And then she just sort of smiles at him. I would enjoy watching your race, yes, actually. Um, we have a Chin Chin that is most certainly ready for whatever sort of race you guys have. Um, and well, I actually looked into the specifics of just how fast and how much distance, uh, mechanically speaking, based on what he has, Chin Chin could travel in a single round. And I did the same for you based on what moves that you have. Um,
Right.
what's what moves are you willing to use, and how much of it are you going to spend in chakra to try to
What do you mean? I
keep
just
pace
woke
with
up.
Chin?
I've got 78 chakra to go through. I will use all of it.
Um, the way that I was thinking is, um,
She will do anything short of cheat. Like she's not gonna like um what do you call it? She's not gonna do like fatigue or anything on him.
right. She's not gonna like trip him up in some way.
Right.
But
But she will use like yeah, she's not gonna like cramp him or anything, but she is going to use her teleport, she's going to use do lightning displacement, she's gonna use pretty much anything she has on hand. If leap to the sky will help her, she'll use it.
jump really high and then
Oh, I know. Shadow clones, and then they can throw her.
using shadow clones and trying to throw her would be interesting. It's a little weird.
Like okay, so shadow clone, and then one of them uses thunderclap, and like uses the knockback to throw her.
And
Actually,
then
what rank is thunderclap? Because I don't know that I can actually do that. Hold on. That's not the right one. Um, thunderclap is a deafen thing. I'm thinking of the one like repulsion technique. I think is what it's called, which I also have.
repel on shadow replication or shadow clone. Does it say that you can freely move between your where your clones are placed,
No, but
or
I
is
do
it
have body substitution regardless. So yeah,
oh
I can just use them as a chain and then body substitution my way through them, and then have the last one like repel and then speed of lightning and then lightning displacement and whatever else I need to.
okay? Um,
And if I'm not mistaken, body substitution is instantaneous or near instantaneous, so that would
yeah.
put me a good bit ahead. Um,
So the thing about this here is, mhm, um, your clones have their own turn that goes on the same initiative that you do, technically.
technically,
Um, huh?
technically,
Yes, your clones have the same initiative that you do, but they have quote unquote separate turns from you.
right.
So,
So if he goes first, then he's got the head start. If I go first, then I do.
well, the point is that the distance that is covered, I was going to give you um, like a full, basically to give you the max distance that you could potentially travel. Um, I was going to give you a full attack type thing to give you two attack actions to go the distance, so to speak, so that the math was easy and I didn't have to try to calculate for it being over quote unquote multiple rounds.
I see.
So your Shadow Clones is an attack action. Substitution is instant. Repel comes from a clone. Substitution is instant. Repel comes from a clone, so it doesn't count because a clone has a different turn than you do.
Right.
And then lightning, speed of lightning is your second attack action.
Yeah.
So your clones can go a max of 30 feet away with your substitute swapping between them because your substitute can only go up to 30 feet away. So 30 plus repel, which is what, 45 when you added all your. How much distance could you get on repel?
For 50 for a DC 18.
Yeah, and your ninjutsu is 18, 17. Okay, cool.
Remember, I just leveled
30. Yeah. 30 from clone and substitute, which is instant, so that's okay. 30 from clone, 50 from repel, and then speed of lightning. I actually had wrote down for your distance for speed of lightning. Speed of lightning is 80.
Yep. And do you have its lightning teleport written down?
I do. However, for you to, you're not going to necessarily be able to do all that in one round.
Right. Okay.
Because,
yeah. I understand that.
In theory, you could swap things around if you wanted to. But your quote unquote max distance that you want to cover would be less exciting because in theory you could do lightning teleport or speed of lightning twice and do 80 feet twice, which would be 160. That just would not look as cool. All in all, your best in a single turn is 160 feet, regardless of necessarily what it is you do to get there.
Right.
And based on all the stuff that I gave him for him to have for his crazy speed, 160 is actually his minimum.
Ooh.
If he does his base, I'm going to go fast over a large distance. He gets 160.
Wow.
Yeah. What he does for purposes of imagery is he's doing flash step type shenanigans, and flash step allows him to make 20-foot leaps in a single direction for every 5 feet of his movement. So what I'm going to do to give us the potential here, because at base, if you go full blast, which you were intending to do anyway, if you go full blast and he goes at his minimum, you guys have the same distance. That being said, if you want to jump back into the character stuff for it now, if he's at this point, the race hasn't even actually done anything yet, and he's just sort of doing that very typical, almost typical, like athlete stretch type thing. because he knows he's going to be going really far, really fast, very soon.
Uh-huh.
And you could do a bit of, you could sit and talk to him for a little bit before the race actually begins or anything of that sort. And see if you can't, since Shiori as a character is not necessarily aware of what he's capable of, you could perhaps see if Shiori could find a way to size him up or see if she even has the remote of a chance. She's a competitive sort too, if I recall, so. It's just a chance to have a small little dialogue with him if you want to before the actual race.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
So you ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you sure you can keep up?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know, I'm pretty fast.
Yeah, well, you've probably got a lot of neat tricks too.
I'll see if I can come up with something.
And then the Queen's like, I'll keep an eye on her. You'll be focusing on the race after all. Oh yeah. I won't necessarily... I wasn't saying that. Just on the grounds that Shinchin here may be curious of what it is you actually do, and if he's focused on making sure he doesn't run into something, he won't be necessarily looking your way to see what you do. And Shinchin, you are going to be facing forward when you go for this run. We talked about this.
Are you that fast?
Yes.
Backwards too?
Yeah, I can. If I want to.
Actually, I'm starting to worry about this.
If I travel backwards, I can, but I've had one too many, shall we say, trees jump out and bite me. But,
oh, yeah.
Anyway.
That can be a little dangerous.
And he also, at saying that, he sort of indicates behind him, and he's like, speaking of trees, and he indicates that where it is you're going to be racing to is like the edge of a forest that's a good, like, roughly 60, 80 feet away. And the idea here is, since we, measured up the distance to travel is, quote unquote, 80 twice for you.
Oh, there and back.
Yep, you're going to jump straight to the forest and straight back.
Okay.
Is basically what you're going to end up doing. And if you choose to do like your rappel shenanigans first with like clones, then you're going to be speed of lightning back, but clones and stuff towards, sort of thing.
Okay.
And yeah, I've done a couple races before in the past and went a little too fast and ended up smacking a few of the trees over there. Wasn't fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
Can't help it.
let's agree.
Sometimes when I race people, they practically fly. It's annoying.
Well, let's agree to have fun and be careful.
Yeah. That. Alright. So what I'm going to do for this, to put it to a die roll, to not have it be so, straightforward. He can technically cover more distance than you, so huzzah, he wins. I am going to say um, both. You said your ninjutsu is 17, 18?
18.
Yeah. Um, go ahead and roll your ninjutsu, basically. Because you're going to be doing mostly ninjutsu stuff to get here anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
So, just barely. It's a sort of a. I sort of. Do you go with your whole, like, Shadow Clone repel shenanigans and.
Well, if I don't, I can only make it to the tree.
Well, if you could always do Speed of Lightning twice as your full round, as opposed to.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't necessarily look as cool, but you could.
Well, what is he gonna do?
He basically, when he jumps, he basically, for all appearances' sakes, he jumps, and as you're like doing the hand signs to do lightning teleport, you see that he's already like teleport jumping, and has made it halfway to the forest before you're done with your first set of hand signs. Like,
it's not lightning teleport. It's Shadow Clone.
Yeah, Shadow Clone, whichever one you do. And you sort of line up with him when you get to the tree line before you start to come back as you do lightning teleport. And it basically from what he's doing, it basically looks like he's jumping, and he like disappears first. He does that like Rock Lee speed disappear sort of thing.
Yeah.
He does that and then reappears for a split second, roughly 20 some odd feet away, and then does it again and again and again and again and again.
It's the DBZ instant transmission horseshit.
Yes, precisely. And then you get back up there, up to where the Queen's litter thing is, having raced back, and he gets there like a split second before you do. Like literally a split second before you do, because that roll is pretty dang close.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he wins, and he comes out of it, and he's like, "Whoa, that was wow! Whoa, okay, you're fast."
Yeah. Yeah. You're pretty fast too.
But like, you're a little winded, aren't you?
That was so cool.
Well done. I
Thanks.
wasn't necessarily. This is said from the Queen herself, but well done. I wasn't necessarily expecting the use of clones. That was clever.
Yeah, she like very not what is it? Not sneakily, but like very subtly casts a heal on herself because the shadow clones like bite back a little. So yeah, she just very subtly like heals herself, and you can see like a bruise fade on the back of her hand and stuff. Like it seemed like the most advantageous option considering how far the tree was. So.
Shouldn't you have just used your first teleport twice, though?
But it doesn't look as cool.
She has a point, says Chin. Even though I didn't see the Shadow Clone thing, I actually... What's the Shadow Clone thing? What? It sounds cooler.
I made a bunch of copies of myself and had them, and then like switched between them until I got to the front of the line, and then had it like basically throw me the last couple of feet, and then I bounced off the tree and used my lightning speed to keep up with you, almost back here.
Oh, that's why I thought I saw two of you for a split second.
There were four of me for a split second, but yeah.
Oh, huh. Can you do that again?
Uh,
Just not the like throwing thing, but just to if you can make copies of yourself, that's cool.
she's gonna cast one shadow clone.
Oh, cool. So the other version of you has everything that you do. Huh.
There's limitations to it, but yeah, it basically does. It's yeah, it uses my chakra and part of my like kind of part of my life force to create itself as like a more um like a more stable clone than the typical thing. Um and she has the clone like go up and like push on him a little bit, which a normal clone would just pop if it tried.
Yeah.
Um and and so so you can see that it's solid. Um, they're pretty flimsy, all things considered, and I take most of the damage from them as um, like transferred onto me. But it's very useful inside of combat to have something that can hit a little harder than a a light gust of air.
Hmm. Oh. Hmm. Okay. Uh, it was a really fun race. I have to try to do that again sometime.
Yeah, maybe next time when I'm a little faster.
Mm, I might be faster by then. You never know.
Never know.
Oh, the queen just sort of sighs. Perhaps you should get back to your shop, Chin Chin. Well, there's not a lot of customers right now anyway. Most are sort of just keeping to themselves, and like the biggest bit of customers I'm getting is from the boat anyway. And plus, you're here, and that's going to slow the. Okay, fine. And he just sort of you see a split second of like the tarp or whatever flat at the end of the hut where he came out originally just sort of flare up and then back down, but you don't actually see him. It just
Yeah.
well done.
Oh, thank you. That was actually a lot of fun.
Shin Shin is a very playful sort.
Excitable.
Yes. Well, Lolo was told to wait for me in the inn, and I will be heading there to speak to him. I asked him to do such a thing so that my time with you would be without him. Just for he's a very aggressive sort, and I didn't want him to affect what things you said or didn't say to me.
Wait, who?
Lolo, the
Oh, well, okay,
commander.
yeah. She just kind of smiles and goes, he's not that bad.
No, he's not. But if one would call Chin Chin excitable, by the same token, they could call Lolo aggressive. Or perhaps
I guess
direct would be better.
mm, maybe intimidating, but I don't know that aggressive was really. I mean, he has this aura about him that like makes everyone nervous, or maybe like all the way into actual afraid. But um, I don't really, I like, I don't know. If you kind of keep track of yourself, then you shouldn't have to worry about that with him. Um,
He doesn't fear. He doesn't cause fear in you. You don't have to worry about that. He
oh
knows
no, I
better.
didn't. I didn't mean you. I just meant like in general. Like I wouldn't describe him as aggressive. I didn't describe him as unnaturally, or maybe actually naturally intimidating. Um, it seems like
Yes.
some kind of chakra effect in addition to everyone else's chakra effects, but
She sort of um she's like stepped down from her uh like to the ground itself so that you can get a glimpse of her like actual height in comparison, which just by the way she's like 6'4".
yeah.
Um and she sort of just gives you a look that appears to be sort of she seems to be doing a similar thing of what you do with like the tech thoughts kind of thing, but not in a very evasive sort of way. It's almost as if she's asking to, without directly saying it, she's asking to sort of look into your mind a little bit.
She gives like a slight nod.
And you sort of feel her energy, her chakra, which is exceedingly powerful, by the way. Um,
Had no arguments there. I knew that when she stepped on the like in the town.
uh-huh.
I've sensed
um,
chakra. That was probably like needle all the way to the left, all the way back around, all the way to the left again.
yeah. Uh, so she sort of just sort of looks through uh, specifically the events when you were on the boat. She doesn't push back any further than when you had arrived on the boat, and she sort of reads you as you talk to, as your memories go through, which those that you've talked to on the boat and here in town, and then you have a sense for chakra as well.
I do. Um, I'm built a little more for reconnaissance and healing more so than attacking, but I do keep a pretty good store of damaging abilities just in case. We've run into some pretty uh let's say let's say people with questionable morals. Um yeah, let's put it that way. She probably picked up on like her thoughts about like or like everything that happened with like Mitsu and like
Yeah,
the like all
Azagiri
those
stuff,
guys.
and
Azagiru, that's it. That's the one. Matsukami was like sticking to my brain, and that's just not it. Um,
no, it's an interesting work though.
that is the word for the Japanese pantheon
Oh, huh,
of gods. Yeah.
interesting.
Um, but the Azagiru.
Um,
Um,
mhm, yeah. Um, she sort of chuckles a little bit. You have a
probably
great
probably at the fact that Shiori like she could see everything that happened in like in relation to the Azagiru in that group, and Shiori still described them as people with questionable morals, meaning like she still thinks most of them can be redeemed.
yeah. Hmm. She sort of it's as if she sort of focused on your potential and your power. Um, and she's a healer a scout, and a lightning specialist.
Yeah, I take after my parents.
Hmm. Let's hope if you do end up fighting here, we have our own fair share of beasts, not of the same vein as what you've dealt with. And it appears that you're not the sort to kill either.
I'd prefer to avoid it if at all possible, but I'm I'm aware that sometimes it may not be.
How would you feel of killing a creature that is causing destruction but does not have any degree of uh, a creature that is not sapient, one that is just rage and aggression and a force of nature, shall we say, more than anything else.
Yeah.
And generally, these creatures are destroyed when they are attacked or when they attack. I wouldn't want you to believe that you could spare such a creature and the creature destroy you in the process.
I'm aware of the difference between the two. I'm aware when I'm out of my depth. I
Yeah.
appreciate the concern, but I'm used to making field decisions in that regard. And I don't think it'll be an issue.
Good.
My question to you is, do you intend to recruit me to fight for you?
If you intend to use, if you mean to recruit you for a war, then no. But sometimes we are in need of capable people to fight when these beasts arise. And I wouldn't think you would want to help if you could.
If it's to defend people from a threat that isn't something that can be solved with diplomacy, I would be more than happy to lend a hand, either by combating it or by healing those that are injured in the process of doing so. If it can be solved with words, I would prefer to either assist or be given the chance to attempt words to begin with.
I see why Achike was drawn to you.
Yeah, there... that's another thing. Why send an armed force? I mean, like, I understand, like, to defend yourself, but it seemed more like an incursion rather than an expedition.
As I said, the council wished for it to be a more direct assault rather than an expedition. I only
But
wish
to
to
what
know.
end? Not to be rude or disrespectful, but an assault to what end? You sent... I mean... It just doesn't make sense to attack us for any reason, let alone out of nowhere. Like, no one was expecting you guys to come, no one was expecting an attack, no one has offended your territory, or... I mean, I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if I will not be surprised if I am the only person on my entire continent that knows you guys are out here. council or no, there is no need to start a war.
It is a very complex issue. And the reason for travel is something that I'd rather not say right now. But suffice to say, there is something that resides on your continents. One of the two, we're not entirely sure of which, that we would like to see, I would say. See, retrieve. Some here feel that they need to return.
You could tell me without speaking a word, and you don't.
Roll,
You...
do you have diplomacy?
I mean, I do. It's not great, but I have it.
She's read your mind and she trusts your intentions. I'll actually give you a +4.
I have diplomacy.
So diplomacy got a +4.
Darn, I'm not a diplomancer. Help. +4.
What do you not? You not actually have diplomacy?
Oh, I just straight up don't have it. Sorry. I'm imagining diplomacy is charisma, so I'll take my charisma +4.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So it would be at a total of +6.
Yeah. That's a 16. That's not great, but she also wasn't going to say anything particularly endearing. She was gonna what I was going to say before you had me do that is you could tell me without saying a single word, yet you don't. I have no choice but to take that at face value.
Okay. Telepathy is not something that comes easy. She actually is speaking in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'll back up what you were saying and rephrase it a little better. Telepathy is not something that I choose to use all the time. I would rather speak openly about the concerns, if at all possible. We are in a place that is open to allow others to hear, which have very sensitive ears. But if you would like to know, I have family that exists on your continent somewhere. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
The silence was not out of character entirely. She pauses for a moment, and then in her mind, as best she can manage, she says, your secret's safe with me.
I wish to find them, to make sure that they are okay. If not, to find a way to bring them here. I don't believe that they've favored well with some folk from your lands. It's not uncommon in my culture for those that are super and are very different from another to be oppressed. I can't imagine that they weren't when they arrived there.
It's, as much as I hate it, it's not uncommon in mine either.
Precisely.
You sent a ship with someone you clearly trust and told him instead of the truth to bear swords rather than words. I understand that it needs to look like a military function, but you could have had people you knew were... What's the word I'm looking for? You could have had people you knew were capable of carrying out the mission you wanted rather than the one you needed it to look like.
I did send at least one, well, more than one, that was not necessarily focused on a direct frontal assault. I just had to put the one that was the direct frontal assault, as he was the higher rank. He was put in charge. Even if I hadn't put him in charge, he would have put himself in charge.
Yeah, that sounds about like him from what I've figured out in the last few days.
Therefore, I did send a few that were not going to be direct aggression. In fact, the one you met, she was trained to be an assassin. And from what I can tell, from your memories and what you saw of her, you didn't actually see her kill any of your people.
It's true.
She very well could have, easily. Especially in the circumstances that she seemed to have been in.
Again, that wasn't the best of circumstances, and if it were me in the position of making that choice, she wouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. But I got her out of it.
Yes.
Which is not as easy as it sounds. I do not outrank the person that I talked out of imprisoning her. And she escaped in the meantime anyway, so...
She is rather good at that.
Yeah. She's really impressive. She taught me how to communicate. Like, I'm not a slow learner, but I mean, like, learning a new language in a few days is kind of difficult.
Yes.
And to be able to effectively converse with the, highest order of the land after a few days of speaking the language, it actually feels pretty nice. I have her to thank.
Yeah. Yes. It is rather appreciated that I wouldn't have to speak to you directly into your mind the whole time we convert, simply because of the language barrier.
I imagine that's pretty difficult.
Now, if you wish to come with me to speak with Lowell, you're free to do so. I would also suggest perhaps learning a bit more about these visitors. I seem to recall from your memories that you didn't actually travel down to take a look at the tailor. I feel the tailor may interest you just a bit. But you're free to do it.
If I speak with the tailor beforehand, are you going to go talk to Lolo now?
He will be expecting me.
I see. I'd like to do both.
I don't wager that our conversation will be short.
See.
Even though he stays in touch with me for most of his long trips, he tends to make sure that I am not going against the way of the council. He is not council, but he is close to them.
I
Some
see.
of them.
Are you able to share whatever information I miss in the meantime without him being suspicious of it? I know it's difficult. I just don't want to come in unprepared.
Mm.
If not, that's okay. I can talk with you afterward.
I have a bit of a compromise.
All right.
I have one in which he can be made not aware that you are there or that you are around. And whatever information that you missed from speaking with the tailor, I can share it with you afterwards. I seem to recall a rather effective reconnaissance jutsu that you performed while on the boat while he was there is a discernible pause when she said this, meditating.
I forgot about that, and I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
It's fine. He didn't notice is the important thing.
Yeah, that is true. I did do that, yes.
If you perform that jutsu, he will remain distracted in talking to me, and he will not notice. If you perform that jutsu, I will be able to see it and notice when you're there. And it'll take a great deal of energy, but I can give you the audio to those visions.
Oh, that would be so helpful. I'm still trying to learn lip reading. Your language isn't terribly similar to mine, and it's becoming slightly more difficult, and also he doesn't have lips.
Well, he does, you just cannot see them.
Right, but that makes it kind of hard to see what he's talking about.
This is true.
This is true. I will go see the tailor, and I wish you luck at your meeting.
She gives you a nod. And then she gives you a nod, and she goes and makes the walk into the actual inn tavern. In her, especially when she traverses from the grass to the tavern itself, she does have a in amongst her royal garb. You notice that she does have a bit of a it's not like a high heel type thing, but it is a discernible heel.
Oh, does she have like talon heels?
Kind of thing, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then she walks on into the tavern, and you're free to go down and visit the tailor.
Alright, I will do so.
Alright. In approaching the tailor, it is, much like the other shops that you visited, it is very clearly a shop that is meant to, one to browse into and to look around and things, buy things and that sort. So you approach and you open the door, and unlike the previous two shop areas that you went into, this one actually has a little one of those bell indicators that someone came through the door.
Oh, cool.
And so you sort of hear that subtle ring as you sort of chime your way into the doorway. Um, and then you hear it's actually fairly dark
Actually,
at first.
Shiori, like, she hears the single beginning of a ding and instantly like silences the bell just on ninja reflex.
What would you have that you could silence the bell with?
My hand, it's a bell.
Yes, but it's above you at the top of the door.
I can jump. I can jump hundreds of feet in the air, Dalrin. A little airwalking's nothing.
You want to walk in, and the first instinct, literally jump up and grab a bell to keep it from going ding.
Yes.
Okay.
She hears the ding and then stops it like,
Okay. Sure. Um. Okay.
I will
So
roll
you jump.
reflex. I will cast whatever I have to cast. I will do it.
Roll reflex save. Yeah, do that
Okay.
because you're not expecting the bell to be there.
No, I'm not. So 17.
Okay.
DC
Sure.
versus
All
Bell.
right. So sure. You jump. You grab the bell. You stop it. It makes even just a barely little, click, and then nothing. Um. And then you realize that this like effectively tailor shop is very dimly lit. It's not got it doesn't seem to have any form of like candle lighting or any of that sort. Uh, I don't wager they would have a degree of electricity on this continent.
Oh, on this continent, I don't know, but lantern light is a thing. But
Right,
anyway,
yeah, yeah. There's lantern light and things like that, but most of their light comes from either natural sunlight or fire. Um, and there are no form of like candles or lantern light that's actually in this room. And the only form of natural light that comes into the room is from the windows from the sun, because it is still like mid morning, um, or like late morning rather. Um, and but the like there are like very elaborate curtains that are on all the windows, and most of them are like pulled to where it's very dimly lit in here. Um,
okay.
and
Shiori is going to I'll let you finish, but uh,
yeah,
I sorry memes. Um,
I'm thinking you're doing something on impulse of it being a very dark room.
no, actually, I'm going to let go of the bell and let the door shut and ring the bell like as it closes, like how that like if it's just one of those like a hanging bell and the door hits it, that kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
like ding and then ding again when it closes. So she's just gonna let it go and let it ding when it closes because she has no reason to be stealthy. That was just like instinct, like reflexive.
yeah.
I'm a ninja. I didn't make a
Um,
noise. I didn't want to make a noise.
yes, yes. And now you could get some extra cool XP points if you change your instinct on your character sheet to be careful.
Ooh, yeah. And do that.
I wouldn't mind it. It would be fine. Um, so yeah. Um, you
Well,
enter
now
in.
that she knows that there's a subterfuge plot, um, her brain goes, yeah, maybe I want to be careful.
Uh, um, so you do actually end up, because the door comes back and shuts, and then the bell goes off again. You do end up, you know, letting the bell actually ring. Um, and you're faced with a very dark room. Um, And before much of anything, as soon as like the bell itself goes off, or like not actually as soon, maybe 3 seconds after the bell has rung, you hear a sort of um, like older, wizened kind of a voice, feminine. I'll be with you in a minute.
No rush. Okay, a little
And
bit of a rush, but don't stress yourself over me.
uh, give for me a spot check.
Sure.
But it is kind of dark in here.
It is a little.
Uh-huh.
Spot seems fine.
Yes.
Spot's a
So,
good doggo. He seems fine.
in looking around, it's very dimly lit, so it's very like low light type thing. Um, and you see that if it wasn't already apparent because you're told and you're coming in here, the building itself screams, "This is a shop of a tailor, seamstress, something. This is a shop meant to sew, and it's very like rarities, fabrics, sort of a thing."
Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy?
Uh, it very much screams, "This is a shop of someone who does a lot of sewing and fabric work and things like that." Um, you see a lot of like tapestries and like very elaborately made designs and things. Um, and you rolled decently high on your spot check, like above a 10.
No, I didn't.
So it was above a 10. Um, so you see, like in the shadow in the back, you see like um, the movement. I don't know if Shiori would know what it is necessarily. She might. Um, but you know the like looms sewing things, the machines that you use your hand to keep track and sew things. The big like um,
I mean, yeah, it's a loom.
yeah. Um, you see the barest hints of what would be a loom, like way back in the shadows, that is slowly just sort of rocking, indicating that it is in use.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
mhm.
Okay.
and and then there is a pause. The subtle movement of the loom in the back stops, and well, interesting. I was I wasn't expecting someone so, shall we say, human. And you see in the shadow a pair of, or well, not a pair, but it's a set of 6 eyes.
Yay. Shiri
It
like brightens up a little when she sees this.
and it's actually like obviously one face, one person,
With 6 eyes.
six set of with 6 eyes. Mm-hmm.
Um,
What?
did I have a question?
Mm-hmm.
Did Duness have 6 eyes?
No, she did not.
Oh, she had extra arms.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
She had
So
extra arms and she had fangs for like poison gland.
yeah,
She
yeah, yeah.
didn't have extra eyes.
So yeah, Shiori like smiles and moves closer, like rather like just casually, like not even phased by the multiple eyes. she's like, yeah, someone said I should come see you.
There's a move because it's still pretty dark, and it is taking a little bit of time for your eyes to adjust, or you can actually see.
Not even worried.
But there is a not very long, but it'll get there in just a second. There is a tilt to the placement of the eyes, as if the person looking at you sort of tilts their head a little.
Mm-hmm.
You came from the boat, didn't you?
I did. She's wearing the clothes Daness made her, so if she recognizes them. Like the work, I mean, not the actual clothes, because she hasn't been in here, but...
Yeah.
I'm also making an assumption that she's a Spider Woman, but whatever.
You're focusing... Are you focusing your detect thoughts on her? Like you...
I mean, she's the only one in the room, but I mean, it's wide open, so...
Yeah. Because I recall, when you were talking to the thing that you, turned that off.
I did, but she started it back up after a little bit when she, once she wasn't, in the presence of the Queen.
Right. Okay.
They just started it back up on, oh, it's quiet in here. Whoop.
Alright. So from her, from the thoughts of this woman, you get two discernible emotions. It's kind of contradictory. You get, she is very pleased to see that you're wearing such an outfit that you are. But she also seems to be a bit disappointed for some reason. And then your eyes have adjusted enough for that you can see, and you see before you a she's got dark, long, sort of graying at the edges, and she has 6, as was established before, she has 6 insect spider type eyes, and then she does actually have multiple arms, but unlike the difference between Doness, it seems to be that Doness had 6 arms, had 4 arms and poison glands, and she has 4 arms and 6 eyes instead of poison glands. So
I see.
There's a slight difference to what features are there and what aren't.
Yeah.
It's the first time that you've really seen that Shiori's really encountered a person of the same
same
animal
species,
type,
but with different features.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she sort of gives you a smile, and that's how you discern that she doesn't actually have fangs like Doness did.
Mm-hmm.
Doness gave you an outfit to wear, I see.
Yeah, she did. What I was dressed in before definitely didn't fit this climate.
I had heard that they were traveling to a more winter area, so I suppose you were dressed for that.
The place where they docked was, yeah, but it's kind of summery elsewhere.
Yes. Perhaps your continent is a bit as... I believe our world in general is very strange when it comes to the weather.
It is. I still have my clothing if you want to see it. It's not anything special. It's not anywhere near as nice as any of these. But if you wanted to look at it.
I wouldn't have much need to, but seeing outfits from other cultures may prove interesting at least.
Exactly.
Um, and now that your eyes have adjusted a little bit better, you now see her like massive loom that she has behind her counter in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you say someone sent you here to speak to me.
Yeah, a rather influential someone.
Hmm. I had heard word that the Queen would be coming by soon.
uh,
You have.
Before
Yeah.
we stray too far from the topic, um, I kind of noted I pick up on things. I'm a bit of a healer, so I kind of watch for little things. I'm not trying to pry, but you seemed a little, I don't know, disappointed when I walked in. Is there something wrong?
Doness did not return home, is all. I
Oh,
expected her to go, but she did not come by and say hi.
I see.
I don't know what's got in her head to make her stay on the boat for the entire duration that you are here, but
I can see if I can mention it to her when we, if I bump into her outside.
sure. Just don't tell her her mother. Just don't tell her her mother sent you.
I think I can work around that.
She gives you another smile. The Queen is capable of some amazing feats. Perhaps she was already aware that you had spoke to Doneth, both from the clothes and by other means, and wished to send you here so that you may learn of Doneth's family ties, I suppose.
That crafty woman.
She can be. She's been a ruler for several years now. Made some changes, some things that some won't, some that people don't. She actually turns back to her loom at this point, and you notice that as she's um, like sewing and making use of the loom, she's going like twice as fast as a normal person would because she can do um, the two different sides of a loom, like feeding it and then making sure it. Since she has an extra set of hands,
Yeah.
she's basically flowing through it at twice the speed as a normal person would, even though she seems to be in her mid to late 50s and is sort of older. Um, but she's got some speed on her for an old wizened individual. Um, if Doness doesn't feel like coming to saying hi, that's fine. I don't feel as though she likes to make things for people who go on adventures and travel. I make things for those who stay at home.
I see. I
We
I may know of some people who could be of use of your style of clothing.
really,
Mm-hmm. I don't mind if you need compensation. I don't know how good my currency is here, but I am more than happy to trade favors.
what did you have in mind?
Well, my um some people I'm acquainted with, and then my partner's mother. They don't go out and adventure much, but I'm sure they could use something.
Uh, was that dodge intentional?
Yes, both dodges were
Um,
intentional.
I was gonna say, good for you. Way to pick up on that.
Hmm.
Um,
Because
I
she
was
still she
hoping.
still refuses to call them her parents because yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. That's fine. Um, all right.
So grumpy.
She smiles. Hmm. Well, I had heard you would be restocking for a few days, maybe less, especially if you go to Young Chin Chin to get most of your supplies. Um, I think I can have something for you. Would a nice fabric rug suffice?
Oh, I was hoping for something clothing related, but rugs are also nice, decorative.
As I said, I make those for people who stay at home, closer
And
to home decor than outfits.
oh, I see, I see. Yes, no, that would be wonderful.
Hmm. Any
It
particular design?
something something that you think something that reminds you of home. Yeah, something that reminds you of home. Um, and if you can manage 3 of them, um, it's kind of a tall order, but
Hmm.
I'd be
Something
happy
to
to.
remind you. That's an interesting request.
They don't all have to be the same one. I have more than
Yeah.
one thing that reminds me of home.
Hmm. Can you tell me a little about the individuals that these could be for?
Um, yeah. One of them is, um, she's a, um, she's a expert animal handler. She's very nice. She likes to cook. I think. I think I remember us doing that. Um, she's been through a lot. Um,
So an animal lover that's been through.
yes. The
Hmm.
other two. Um, a a woman who is a very powerful healer. Pretty straightforward. Um, kind of serious and dedicated to her craft, but also able to like let go and unwind when she is with her family. And then her husband, he's he's a little more inclined to humor. He likes making puppets and telling stories.
I'll see what I can do.
And the third one, um, actually is for my home.
Yeah,
Um,
you've already said three.
hmm?
You've already said three.
No, well, I mean, like okay, but one for uh, Tsume's mom, one for uh, um, Shinatsu
Yeah, I
and
know.
and
Yeah, I
Right,
realize it
and then
is.
one for my house.
Right. You had said three, and then you named three rugs for three people. So
No,
she was
well,
taking that as
I'm sorry. When I mentioned that it was for when I mentioned they were a couple, I thought you it's I mean,
oh, the couple would get one rug that was both. I see.
yes.
I see. And the third for your home, you said?
Yeah. I my partner's also a beast tamer. And we have uh a little girl that stays with us. She's oh goodness, she's special. She has an ability like nothing anyone's ever seen before. Um, she's man. I guess we've all been through a lot, but she tries to keep her head up anyway.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. And again, if just anything possibly I can do to help you.
I'm sure we'll find some compensation in there somewhere.
All right.
Uh, you you get the sense that she herself seems to be she's a very caring sort.
Uh huh.
Um, but especially when when you were speaking of Doness and she was speaking of Doness, she's a little bit like protective of her daughter, but not in a super aggressive and annoying way.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of wishes that her daughter would stick to a craft that was less, you know, it she likes the bigger, broader pieces of works and things rather than the smaller, more like functional and practical kind. She's very elaborate, whereas Doness is much more sort of direct. Um, so she kind of wishes Doness would sort of fall back on towards her style, but then again, she's free to she wants Doness to be free to do what she wants to do. So she's just sort of that motherly figure that's just like torn. I want her to be safe, but I want her to do her own thing. How do I make sure she's safe if she's never around?
Yeah.
Sort of a thing. But yeah, she's. I'll see what I can find. It may take some time, but I think I may have pieces already made that perhaps may work. I don't have them displayed here, but I'll see what I can do.
Of course.
And
What
she goes to.
what was your name?
She is actually um, silent, and in like thought, that's it's this strange little pinprick of there's like this the barest hint of the spike of like anger almost, but not quite. But she sort of subsides it and says, if it's all the same, I would rather like to keep that to myself if I could.
That's understandable. You're not the first person I've heard that from. Thank you
I
for
expect.
accepting the order. I'll leave you be.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, she's gonna head back out.
You're getting even more of a sense from particularly the older folk that they don't like giving out names for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Um,
Hmm.
and I think I may know why.
Hmm.
I'll talk to you about it later.
Like me out of character later, huh?
I mean, well, I mean, what character am I gonna talk to you about it in anyway? Um,
Fair.
being as they're like different species and whatever are aligned with creatures that can be summoned, and typically um a piece of summoning something is knowing its name, so you can direct what you're pulling. I can see how older people would be more apprehensive about giving their name because of that exact reason. Probably something along the lines of they used to be something that could be summoned, or maybe they came from a generation that could and are very skittish about people and things knowing their names. That's just a theory that I have, but maybe it's something that the younger generation doesn't get too concerned about because they've never seen it happen or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, Shiori's gonna make
You
her way to the back to the inn. I don't want to know if I'm right or not. I do, but not right now. Shiori will make her way back to the inn. And if her room is small enough or is close enough to where the queen is meeting with Lowo, she's going to create her third eye and sneak it into the room.
Before you get to that, though, um, I'm glad that you said that. I will tell you later if you are correct or not. Um, Good on you for sort of theorizing that out like that. I like that. Um, but before you make it back to the tavern itself, sort of in between making your way to the tavern and you where you left the tailor shop, um, you see a sort of older um, individual. He's very um, he's hooded, he's cloaked. He actually has like a little cane, um, and he's like hun- uh, hunched over just a bit. He's got that very much I'm an old person hunch thing going on. Um,
Shiori
and
very much actively directs her telepathy at him.
uh,
She's slightly nervous around cloaked figures because she knows why she hid her face. Like when she used to wear her like big hat and her like heavy like
yeah,
cloak and everything, she knows why she did it, and she can only imagine there's no good reason for someone else to want to do that.
okay,
Like it's concerning when there's a social environment and someone is concealing themselves within it.
yeah, all right. So directing your telepathy over to him or your detect emotions thing, um, you get a sense of um, I don't know if there's an emotion to call it per se, um, but it's a very routine mindset. He's doing something he's done for a long time and is continuing to do it. This is just like a part of his routine. He's not doing anything like malicious or seems to be trying to sneak. Um, it appears that the cloak is for. It's as though he's wearing the cloak because he feels that others would not like seeing him out in the open. There just seems to be something about him. It's it's like he's a person who um, had like been severely scarred or severely burned in the past, and he covers that up because some people give him weird looks if they see it, sort of a thing. Um,
Okay.
he's his cloak is there because he feels like for all intents and purposes, he feels like his own appearance would bother or scare others around him. But aside from that, he's doing something he's routinely always done, and he seems to be making his way to um, like crossing your path to get from the tavern, from the tailor shop to the tavern. To he's like crossing your path and going towards the blacksmith. Um, he's coming from around the other side of the inn on the left, and it's like coming down and around. Um, and as you sort of have focused on him, you don't really pick up on. Um, there's these. They're effectively kids. They're they look to be somewhere between the ages of like 8 and 13. There's like three or four of them. Varying degrees of animal features amongst them. Um,
Huh.
there's one with like itty bitty little dog ears. Uh, one with a rat's tail. Um, and another with like a set of whiskers. Not quite sure if it's whiskers from a cat or whiskers from like a mouse. Um, but they seem to be not too effectively, mind you. They seem to be secretly trying to follow him, but he doesn't seem to know. He doesn't seem to care that they're back there. Um, and he hasn't really seemed to pay you any mind, really, as long as you didn't stop him directly in his path.
Um, she may pause, um, as she may pause and let him go past first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if he has no concern in his mind about the kids or no awareness of them, she would like to try and discern that. Um, but as he like passes, she's gonna like offer like a small smile and say, "Hey, it's kind of hard to enjoy the sun from under all those clothes."
Discerning his thoughts with reference to the kids, he is very much aware that they're there. He's
Uh
just
huh.
not making any outward appearance to them that he knows they're there.
Okay.
Um, and there's a degree of like,
Mind by this point, like Shiori's been traveling for a while and she hasn't had a chance to really like clean up and like redo her like so you'll remember she's got like heterochromia and mismatched eyes. She's got like a birthmark on her head that leaves like a patch of her hair a different color. So she definitely doesn't look like a like quote unquote regular person anymore than like when she used to try and like hide all that.
yeah,
Um, so
that's fine.
yeah, she's definitely got like outward like abnormalities.
Yeah, that's fine. Um, he, what was it that you said?
It's
That
like something along the lines of you can't. It's hard to enjoy the sun under all that. under all those clothes.
No, I don't much need the sun, young woman. Not anymore.
Well,
And as you saying that, he sort of he was moving forward to just sort of walk past you, and then you spoke and he stops.
uh-huh.
You sound new. You're not from around here, are you?
Unfortunately, no, I'm not.
Hmm. Well, I hope you find it's peaceful here.
So
We
far,
have
it
our
has
fair
been.
share. We have our fair share of unsightly individuals, but we
She
tend to remain pretty peaceful around here.
she very like subtly glances toward the three kids, like just to where he can see it if he's looking at her. When he says like unsightly individuals.
Hmm. Um. Okay. You have you have gotten recently a treat injury
I
thing
have.
that allows that you
I
it just
have.
allows you to go through the injury without rolling it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So with that in mind, um,
She is going to say, I don't know how long I'll be in town, but I am a bit of a medic. If you ever need anything worked on, let me know.
I said I'll be fine. You you don't need to worry about me.
I know what it's like
Um.
to get side glances because of how you look.
When he with your like auto treat injury roll,
Uh,
um, he's going to move to get to continue to go into the blacksmith shop. Um, but with your sort of treat injury and knowledge of medics and anatomy and things, his cane is not there because he's old. His
right.
cane's there because it's a walking stick. He's walking and moving like he's blind, but he's used to it.
I see.
And
Okay.
he sort of he sort of makes his way into the blacksmith shop, and the three kids just sort of stop as they are getting closer to where you are, and you have crossed paths, so to speak. And the one of the three that has like the whiskers sort of looks at you. He seems to be the oldest of the three. It's two little boys, and the one with dog ears is a little girl. Um, okay, I've seen a lot of the. You're a human, aren't you?
I am.
And you can understand me. Cool. Uh, he's weird, and he sort of points to
Now
the,
that's not very nice.
the oh, he is. I tell her, and then the little girl sort of pipes up. He he can't see. He's blind,
He
but
is.
no one no one can ever sneak up on him. It's weird.
You know, when you can't use one of your senses for a while, the others tend to compensate. His hearing is probably very good.
She sort of
And
she sort of does
she
this.
says she says, "Trust me, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of time to learn how to move without being heard." And with that, she just like she doesn't lightning teleport, but she like I'm gonna do like the speed of lightning thing to like just blink behind them.
All three of them jump. uh, uh,
It's not very nice to make people feel unwanted just because they're not the same as you.
okay, but did you see his face? You didn't see his face.
I saw what I needed to.
He,
I
he
saw a
okay.
man going to the blacksmith, minding his own business. That's all I needed to see. Just a
Then
regular, just the same as you or I, going to any other merchant.
the one with the rat tail is just yeah, but he literally has no eyes. He can't just not see. He has no eyes.
That's okay.
They just sort of look at each other. With your detect thoughts on the kids, you're getting this. They want to because you're not that much older than them.
Uh-huh.
You're only like what 15, 16?
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, and the oldest one of them is 12. So they want to sort of feel like they can talk to you in a more like open manner, like among kids and teenagers and things. But at the same time, because of your whole lightning teleport, they're absolutely scared of you.
She's just gonna smile and says, "Look, there's nothing to worry about from me. I'm not from around here, and I don't plan to cause any trouble. So there's no need to be scared. But what is it that, other than what you've told me, what is it that makes you so interested in him?"
Well, he always does the same thing. Like every, it's like clockwork or something. He always travels the same way. He always goes to the same place, stays for the same amount of time. It's as if he's doing something just because he's done it for years, rather than he has any real reason to. I don't know.
No?
Well,
It's...
it's not like we ever hurt him or anything. We
If you had someone following you around all the time,
it
or
was
maybe
all
not
the
even...
time.
I get it. I'm just... you know what I mean. Look, it's... It kind of sucks to be made to feel different just because you're not exactly the same as everyone.
And then the one with the
How would you feel
whiskers,
if...
the
How would you feel if everyone with a
little
tail
ring.
picked on you for not having one?
There's a lot of people that have tails.
That's
They
not the
don't have
point.
tails.
There's a lot... I know plenty of blind people who have either become blind from an accident or were just born that way. But as you know, there are a lot of people with eyes. So just like you don't have a tail, that doesn't make him any less for not having one.
They just sort of the one with the whiskers that appears like to be the little ringleader of the group. He just sort of okay, okay, we'll leave them alone. Um, let's go, guys. And they just sort of scramble and
She's gonna wave and go, "See ya, come by for a checkup."
um, give from me as they go running off. Give from me a spot check.
Okay. 18?
Nice.
A little better than the last time?
Oh yeah, much better than the last time. So when they go running off, you notice that the one with the whiskers, that was like the little ringleader of the group, um, he was wearing like a very sort of simple garb that it wasn't like a tunic or anything like that. It was just a sort of simple, almost like a t-shirt, but more travel in nature. Um, and it exposed like the back of his neck and his hair, and he had like this short, sort of cropped off top uh, hair. And you notice as he goes running off that on the back of his neck, like going down into his shoulders and under his shirt, he has like what almost looks like a down of feathers on his back. And then they scrambled off.
Um, no, no. Shuri's gonna grab Shuri's just gonna like grab her like sanity. Um, children are hard. They're hard to deal with. Um,
What does
and
she already think of?
huh?
What does she already think of that?
What, the feathers?
Yeah, he
More
had like,
interesting things.
yes, indeed. But yeah, so they just sort of scamper off, and then um, you turn to doing what you said you were going to do, which is uh, set up your surveillance with Lolo and the Queen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Um, Rather than trying to do a conversation of, you know, myself talking to myself, um, the conversation that they have amounts to her basically telling him that it's still he is still to travel there. He is still to look into what he can find. Um, they are to check with the other continent as opposed to the one that they went to after they return you home. Um, they are not to like engage in any direct fight of any sort unless they are provoked. And they are going to send Achike and a few other scouts that would appear to be more human so that people don't get interesting thought, or people don't assume automatically that they're there. Um, and they're sort of going to take what ICK has learned to at face value as a means to, um, not be directly offensive and as an assault. Um, but they are going to still be looking. They're still going to travel. And this is, what you get with her telling you the rest of the conversation. You sort of come into it as they're discussing the new um, folks that are going to be traveling with you again. Um, and those folks would have to be called, and the Queen has to call for them, and they will be arriving within the next day or so, assuming that nothing goes wrong at their end. Um, so Lowo is pretty much wait for all the supplies, wait for the new uh, scouts to get here, and then travel back to Napari to return you to Tadahashi, just long enough so that they can then move on to Buffone to see if they can find whatever it is they can find. It doesn't appear that Lowo is fully sure of all the specifics of what they're looking for. Um, it's the Queen basically is like, you'll know it when you see it, without telling him what it actually is. And she's she appears to be imparting on him a degree of be a bit more tactful. She sort of does a very subtle reprimand since she is much higher up. Well, not much, but she is higher up. She does a sort of reprimand of him for, being in the direct assault, just outright.
Uh-huh.
And she does try to put him in his place a little bit. And luckily, he doesn't appear to have any means to contact the rest of the council, and he does still want to do this mission, so he kind of just has to go with whatever she says. um, Much to his chagrin, so to speak. But if he was to jeopardize what she wants to do, then his mission and his uh, what's the word? Reputation. If he was to jeopardize the mission that she wants to do, his reputation would suffer. So he's just sort of begrudgingly, going to do whatever it is that she wants him to do. And you also, since when you come in, she sends forth. She does. You see with your third eye thing, you see that she does like a little half seal hand sign right next to her hip, and you are then hearing what is being said by both of them from inside the room, as if you are in the room. And unfortunately, the third eye does not have your same sense chakra, so it can't see any kind of weirdness there. But it's almost like everything's being projected to you as if you were standing in this spot, even though you're not. But yeah. What are your thoughts on learning of that, Shiori?
Um, God, that's a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
Um, boy, can I get like a 5 second bullet points of everything that I just took in?
Yeah, sorry. I kind of rambled it a
You're
little bit
fine.
too. Basically, bullet point list. Um, there are going to be a new pair of scouts, two individuals that are going to be arriving to help Ashike sort of recon on the island, on the other continents. Um, Much like Ashike, these two are going to be, their animal features are going to be subtle enough that they can pass for human.
I
Um,
see.
but they're going to go and see and try to explore and sort of watch each other's back in a way that can um, keep their presence hidden. They're going to be much more stealthy about it. And they're not going to, directly anyone. One of the scouts seems to be um, particularly proficient in like tracking and finding whatever it was from Lowo's standpoint. He doesn't know exactly what's being looked for. Because if the queen was to tell him that, then he would go automatically into war mode because the people of this continent in the past that took part of the royal family. Rar. Um, so it's the hope that the scouts find the royal family so that they can then report it directly back to Queen instead of Bolo. um, it's a very like convoluted web of like I don't think intrigue is the right word, but
Right.
it's yeah.
I get you.
She's she's trying to make it to where it appeases her by achieving her goals, but it doesn't look like a direct threat and cause strife for your continent or continents rather. And you're sort of basically left. You're going to wait another day or two, as long as it takes for the new scouts to show up, and then um, you're going to be traveling back on the boat to go back home, and they're going to sort of drop you off and then ride the waves back to Rafane.
All right. So I still have a little bit of time here.
Oh yeah, not too
All
good.
right.
Not much more.
Okay. So we're getting new people. The people work for the queen.
They work for the queen more directly. Yes,
Okay. All right. And and Lowo's not super happy about this, but he's putting up with it.
he wants to do the mission, um, and he wants to be a part of it. He wants to be known for being a part of it.
I
And
see.
if he was to spend the time, and if he wants to spend the time to try to tell his superiors what's really going on, he'd miss it.
I see. And they both know this.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Um. So
Um so Shiori is going to um uh as the queen is like leaving, is she getting up to leave?
yeah.
Okay. He's going to make it look like she was just walking to the captain's room.
Hmm.
Uh and like is about to knock on the door as the queen opens it to leave.
Oh. Well, hello.
Oh, good afternoon, Your Majesty. Um, I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't know how long you guys would be, but um, do you mind if I ask Lowo a question?
I did not mind.
All right.
He sort of stepped aside.
Oh, sure, sure. I like steps inside and like gives her like a short bow, um, and she's gonna um look to Lowo and say, I just wanted to see how long we'd still be in port, as it were, Captain. Do I
two
need a will
days.
save? Do I need a will save being in his
You did.
presence again? I do? Okay.
Yeah.
Do I get a bonus for having done this before?
Uh.
No is fine. I have a 12 to will saves.
No, because he hasn't hit you with it. He didn't hit you with it yesterday. So
Okay.
no.
28.
So you're fine.
Yeah. So she just walks in, no sells it, like, like, sup? No. Um, so yeah, she's like, yeah, I just, she says, yeah, so 2 days, and she smiles and says, okay, cool. I had some things I still wanted to do.
2 days tops.
Ah, one of those then.
Um, if you're focusing your detect emotions on him versus on her, since you did have it back active again.
Yeah.
Uh, you, um,
He is a grumper.
yeah, he's a bit angsty, a bit grumpy in his thoughts, and having a sense that you did that and that you are doing that. Um, the queen sort of is like you get this thought of a smirk from her emotions. So she just like go ahead and gives it to you.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, that's what that amounts to.
So yeah, yeah, she's going to thank them both and like pretending she was not there to meet up with the queen, basically, and she's not going to like hide that fact from the queen. She's like, I need to talk to you about something when she walks in. Like,
You basically came up there to meet the queen, but you don't make it directly apparent that that's what you're doing. At least not the logo.
of course, yeah. She's like, as she's like, since she knows that the queen is leaving because she's been listening to the conversation,
Yeah,
she's only like pretending to knock on the door as a show rather than just like standing in front of it when the queen opens it like surprise, it's your birthday. um so I got you me because I couldn't think of literally anything else. um so she like, pretends like she's about to knock on the door, and the queen, I'm sure, is well known for doing stuff like that, like being like, I know what you're gonna do before you do it, kind of thing.
yep.
So yeah, she's like pretends to be about to knock on the door, and she's like, "Oh," and like acts surprised, and then in her head she's like, "I needed to talk to you about something, but I'm gonna play this off real quick." Um, and ask her question that she already knows the answer to, and then make her way out of the room, like, you know, separate from the queen. If she leaves before Shiori does, that's fine. If she waits and then Shiori leaves and then she
Okay.
leaves, that's also fine.
Yeah, sure. Wait.
Cool.
Um, you once the queen has left, and if Shiori, um, actually, yeah, roll for me a listen check because you are sort of walking away and through a couple different walls.
Yeah, that's
Oh yeah,
17.
okay, yeah. So as you're leaving the the inn to go and check up on to talk to the queen one last time, um, you very apparently hear a discernible like sound of something being broken, like it was thrown against a wall or hit really hard. It's coming from the lower room.
And that's before or after the queen left?
That's after the queen left.
Okay.
Yep. It's like the queen leaves first, and then you leave to follow to make it not look like you were, quote unquote, following her. You leave after she does.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then as you're leaving, the queen's long gone. As you're leaving, there's the sound of something breaking from inside his room. And then as you sort of step out to meet with the queen as she's coming back to her like litter with the other, which she comes back to her litter, and the four guards that were around it are not necessarily around it at the moment. So the two of you are sort of alone, and it's getting to be like almost sunset, probably like 5 p.m. ish.
Yeah.
Their sort of conversation, their conversation was rather long, and I don't know if she already bothered to get like some sort of food room service while she was listening in from the other room.
If she
Um,
what?
if she got some sort of food while she was listening in on the conversation from the other room, like a lunch.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Lunch, yes. But, like...
Yeah. Which, again, uh, restores your chakra from the chakra that you used from the race previously.
Nice.
At least some of it, anyway. Um, it's not really discernible how much because you're going to rest anyway.
Yeah, well,
Um,
the other thing is, like, she probably hasn't eaten dinner yet. She probably had, like, a lunch, but not, like, a meal at the end
right.
of the day kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not late enough for that just yet.
Yeah.
Not quite. Pretty close, but not quite. Um, so you come out to meet with the queen again because you know she knew that you were coming, and she's sort of just leaning like against her litter as it sits on the ground. Um, sometimes it brings me quite a bit to talk about, man.
Yeah. Are thrown objects typically like a after like celebration of one of your conversations?
Hmm.
It's a custom I'm unaware of, or
The chuckle is hers. It's actually in character.
no? Yeah, I know. She's just like, is that a custom of yours, or am I just?
Yeah. With him, more often than not, yes.
Ah.
Especially when I have him cornered.
Can't imagine he likes that being a warrior.
No.
I
Either
wanted
way.
to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
How?
She does a wave of her hand, like up towards the tavern. It's just like this subtle wave,
Jedi mind
and
tricks. She's summoning
kind
her
of.
attendants.
Um, well, she does this wave thing with just like two fingers, and um, she you because she is such an overwhelming amount from your like think chakra. She's just got like this overwhelming aura of chakra around her. You can't really tell if she really does anything chakra wise when she makes that gesture. It's like seeing solar flares directly from the sun itself. The sun's this ball of fire, so it's sometimes hard to tell that there's a flare that comes off of it, sort of thing.
Right. Right.
Um,
Especially when you're looking
something-
directly at it and it's not to the sun.
Yeah, exactly. But she does this like subtle little wave of her hand, and then she's asked away.
Joey kind of gives her a bit of a weird look and goes, alright. Is my ESP still running?
If you want it to be.
Well, I was just asking because it's like, did she switch it off? Or, like, I'm trying to figure out what
No.
exactly she did.
No, she didn't. But if your thoughts are pushing to be curious of what she did,
Yeah.
she says, Lolo is, as you couldn't tell, very upset. He doesn't need to know that we're chatting again after the fact. And she sort of indicates, sort of indicates for you towards the tavern, or towards the inn, towards where his room would technically be. And you see this subtle little aura of chakra around his window pane. As if she's just sort of blocked his view of her at the moment.
I see. Alright.
So what's your questions then?
I'm sorry?
What are your questions then?
Okay. My first question is, are you staying around here for much longer?
Probably not.
I see.
I need to make my way back to the. I need to make my way back to the castle, and it is a rather long trek. I can remain for a few. I can remain for a few more hours, though, if you need something else.
Oh, I was just. Oh, she said I was just wondering if you would wanted to share a meal.
An outsider to the continent sharing dinner with the queen.
I
There
don't
would
know.
be
It
a
just
few that.
it seems like
There
you
could
like
be-
annoying Lolo, so.
You know, perhaps. You said there was 3 questions?
There are a few, yes. My next question. How familiar are you with this town in particular?
This one?
I'm sure your knowledge of your surroundings is quite prolific considering your abilities, but
I know quite a bit about this town. It wouldn't exist if not for me to begin with.
there's a gentleman in this town who seems to be visually impaired.
Yes, I know of him.
He's not anything to be concerned about, correct?
No.
Alright. Yeah, she's basically just confirming what she, like, thought intuitively. Just, like, basically, oh, it's just a guy on his way to do a thing, not really anything to worry about, but I might as well ask anyway. And
Yeah.
as soon as she confirms that, Shiori just puts it out of her mind. So.
Yep. She,
Although Sarah hasn't, because you wouldn't have bothered me with him if he wasn't important. It's okay, alright. I'm a DM too. Come and get me.
she gives you a smile, and she says, at one time, many years ago, he was much faster than he was now. In his old age, he's chosen to travel at a much more calm pace. I told you before, there were times in the past where we had civil wars. He was a military scout in one of those wars of the past. He got used to doing an individual route, and for traveling to check up on people, so to speak.
I see. So he's just following his old patrol route?
Yes.
If I asked you for his name, would you tell me?
If you can show him how trustworthy you are, he can give it to you himself. I would rather not share it without
I
his
understand.
knowledge.
Think nothing of it. I noticed several of the older generation here are very apprehensive about giving their name.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why you and some of the younger ones aren't?
It's
Wait, did I get her name? Fuck.
you did, but not from her. You got it from I think it was actually Lowaway that said it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You did get her name, Laura Lotus, the one that had said it,
Yeah.
referring to her as Her Majesty Cheneville. So, yeah, you do have it. Or Cheneville, rather.
Oh, Chinio. Okay.
Yeah, Cheneville.
I got it. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
So, I said before that there are traditions that are hard to break. In the past, in the wars, we made use of abilities that would allow fighters and warriors to call forth others to their aid. This was meant to be a gesture of friendship. In the days before we started really having fights. Years even before my reign began.
And
However,
then when the war started, you guys began summoning each other as soldiers rather than as friends.
when my uncle was in power, he was a tyrant. He pushed the people into war with themselves, and it led to some more aggressive folks making use of people's names in order to lead them to danger. You couldn't summon a person if you didn't believe that they would be safe. But you could summon a person if you didn't care about their safety.
Shiori is getting visibly sparky again.
It led people to become rather, as you said, apprehensive about relinquishing their names, especially to those they don't know or don't trust. Even more so with humans.
That's awful.
It is. I'm trying to fix it.
Yeah. Glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
Shiori's still, like, even after she continues the conversation, like, her voice evens out, but she's still, like, her hands, like crackle and spark every now and then.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Why did you send me to the tailor? I mean, I can guess why you sent me to the tailor, but why not even a heads up?
Family is a very important fact. And sometimes it takes an outside ear or an outside heart to help bring a family closer. You clearly appreciate and spoke to Yanez in a way of friendship. I thought it only possible that perhaps you could help mend her relationship with her mother.
Might try. I meant to go talk to her today, but it's getting a little into the late. I would still like to I would still like to have dinner with you if you'll be willing to have me, but there is something I need to go take care of first.
Do what you must. I will be here.
Shiori's going to walk back toward the ship
Okay.
and then just off the end of the dock onto the water.
What are you doing now?
I'm walking out into like open water.
Okay.
I'm going to cast um 1,000 heavenly spears.
Uh,
Like she's pissed off and she's got to burn off some of this electricity that she's built up. So she's gonna start dropping lightning bolts in open water to like calm down.
okay. You just drop lightning bolts down uh, all over the water. Is there any sort of discernible, like, angry yell, sort of roar sort of thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thought as much. Um,
Oh yeah. If you can hear that far, like she probably walked like half a mile out into open water. And like if anyone can hear that far, they just hear this like this angry scream and then they just see this like this cataclysm of lightning drop out of the sky.
all right. And then after doing so, you return to the docks and
Yeah, she probably smells like ozone and like scorched salt and
all sorts of
um
fun stuff.
yeah,
Uh,
but
as if you, as if you haven't been doing this all day. Give me a spot check
sure, spots.
because it's fun.
Spot. 17?
Yep.
Question mark?
Yep. Works just fine.
Um
As you return back, as you return back to the docks, or back onto the land, and you're walking across the docks and whatever, um, you notice that sort of off to the edge of the docks, it appears that she was looking out over the water. Um, um, you notice Wooliti's older sister has a paint canvas set up, and
oh,
she's looking out over the water.
hey. Just very casually, "Hey, what's up?"
That was you, right?
Hmm? Oh, the lightning thing? Yeah, I just
I thought so. You doing okay?
was fine. Just had to blow off some steam is all.
Your textiles thing is still going.
Yeah.
Wish I could do it.
Don't
That.
believe shit. Um
Uh, as you know, you got your tactile things going on your chin, and wish I could do it like that.
she she yeah, no. She says, I mean, it's a lot of training to get that far, but and then she pauses and like looks up at her like, "Wait, did you say that out loud or did you say oh shit?"
She sort of tilts her head at you. Hmm. Well, I was going to paint the sunset, but I think I found something a little bit more interesting. And she turns her canvas that she was messing on towards you, and you see the starts of what would be a storm, clouds and lightning and all sorts of other fun stuff that she's got started already on her paints thing. You went pretty far out, so
It looks good.
she gives you a smile. Well, if you have any, you should really blowing off steam like that bound to take a lot of energy. Be sure to get some good food in your belly.
You know, actually, the food here makes me feel a lot better after I do something like that.
Leave she's told me things like that. It's very interesting.
It is. The oh, I'd probably just bore you. The food here is special, especially for people like me and probably Ulachi as well. Um, yeah.
Well, that's it. I'll work on this. Make sure to show it to you before y'all leave.
All right, I appreciate it. Glad I could help.
And she is
I,
aware of her time.
huh?
She is aware. She is very aware in her like the tech thoughts thing. She is very aware of her pun.
Yeah. Um.
Uh,
So yeah, she's actually gonna go back onto the boat
okay.
and check on her patients, like her usual, um, just check up on everyone that she does once a day.
Um, most of the actual patients that were on the boat, the ones that were, not necessarily going to recover as quickly, or well, there wasn't a whole lot of those. Yeah, you got, you know, most of the ship crews made it go back to the boat. None of the really higher ups are back on the boat yet, except for the lizard person. He's on the boat.
Oh damn, I
Um,
got his name too, didn't I? No, 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 he was navigator. No, I did get
he
his
was,
name, but he is navigator.
yes, that
Oh, what is his name?
Bashana.
Bashana. Yes, I got that. Okay. So yeah, Shiori will check on her patients wherever she can find them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're back on their feet, she's gonna check on them anyway. Um,
Oh yeah, they're all doing well.
good. And afterwards, she's gonna go have dinner with the queen.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone asks, especially Lolo, she's just, you know, she's from another continent. I was just curious.
Um, Lolo actually stays in his room at the inn.
What? Captain
Most,
Salt stays in his room and pouts the
I
whole
know
time? You don't say.
he has food brought up, and
I didn't say he
since
didn't
since
eat. I just said he stayed in his room and pouted the whole time.
yeah, a little bit. Um, but thankfully he's not even remotely aware that you're having dinner with the queen. That would aggravate him even more. Um, so yeah. Um, actually, I think I have a good closeout here. Um, so the dinner with the queen. Um, you sort of it's awkward in the sense of you have lots of other folks that are looking towards you, but the queen sort of gives them this gesture of uh, you get this sense that she's told them that this was her idea, not yours.
Ah, I see.
Um, and so they're sort of leaving you be. Um, and I don't want to really try to go into some sort of small talk or anything with her. However, I will give you this, since you went as far to have dinner with the queen and some discussion was made prior. as to the queen's actual goals. Um, the queen said, and got a much degree of silence from both you and from Shiori, when she said that she has family that is somewhere on your continents.
Uh-huh.
Do you, as Saraph, have any idea who that might be?
So, as a as a as a woman of some renown and intelligence, I have no idea what their names are. But I do think I have an idea. Matter of fact, I'm
Some,
very sure I have an idea, but I forget her name. Damn it. Um, but um, yeah, Shiori definitely would have like swapped stories about family
yeah.
with her.
Um, roll for me a straight up intelligence check. This is a very, very sort of big event that had happened in the past, so it's not
F.
going to necessarily be a hard check, but roll for me an intelligence check.
Uh. Uh.
Use your intake 3.
No. Maybe.
Okay, so that is your roll for an intelligence. You can roll an action point if you want.
What? Action point's
You
not
can
gonna get
roll.
me anywhere, but yeah, that's right. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Can I action point to just re-roll? Like, seriously.
If you want to.
I'm gonna whatever, however many action points. Fucking what?
Wow.
Okay, hold on. Let me tell people about the saga of the last 30 seconds. I rolled
Uh-huh.
I have a +3 to intelligence. Not too shabby for like an 11th or 12th level character, right? Pretty solid. Especially considering intelligence was not my like core stat. Um, I rolled a 3 on the die. That's fine. Action point to roll a +6 to it. I rolled a 1 on the d6. Um, and then I was like, okay, I'll just re-roll it. Rolled a 3 again. Um, so apparently Shiori is just stupid tonight.
She's too wrapped up in meeting the queen. She's kind of pretty.
I mean,
Not
yeah, she
attracted
kind
to
of.
her.
I mean,
Not attracted to her in any
that's.
sense,
I think
but
that's up to Shiori, isn't it? But she's
sure.
also probably got like 30 years on me, so it's like, maybe.
And that's just an appearance. You don't know how she actually is. She's a
Yeah,
grad gang.
like, yeah, if she was like anywhere near my age, maybe. But also,
All
anyway,
right.
if this was
So
another
yeah,
character, she'd be super down for that.
you have no your memory is sort of foggy at the moment. You feel like the ideas of who she's talking about and potential family and the story that she tells um should be like you feel like you know something about it, but it's just not clicking. Um, I'll tell you later, and Sam might remember, maybe. It was a decent while back, I don't know. Uh, anyway, we have that little conversation of family between you and the Queen. And then sunset has really hit. You sort of spent, maybe an hour and a half or so uh, eating dinner peacefully. It's gotten a bit dark. Um, and we will close out the session as a uh, she sees it before you do, and she sort of turns and sees a person coming, sort of charging into town, um, and he's got um, he appears to be perhaps a another bear type, um, except his fur is sort of like a lighter shade of like sandy brown as opposed to like black. Um, and because you see his hands um, as he, once you've come over to actually look at him, um, and he comes charging back into town, and he like Shiori instantly wants to go and take a look at him because he comes into town and falls, and he's like,
Yeah, it, if Shiori sees that, she's on him in a second.
yep, yep,
And if that's where you want to end it, we can do that.
indeed,
Okay.
because it's a nice little
I know a
cliffhanger sort of
cliffhanger
ending.
when I see one, you son of a bitch.
Yep, yep, yep. All right, so to close it out because it is fairly long. Um,
Next time on Naruto: A New World.
Join us next week or next session, probably within 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. To find out what Shiori has to deal with now. It seems someone got hurt.
That's what I'm good at. Apparently, in non-intelligence roles. Let's do this.
Yep.